Welcome. My name's Rick Lent. I work with leaders to help them run much more effective meetings by changing the structure of those meetings. I've written a book about that called Leading Great Meetings, How to Structure Yours for Success. In this video, I want to give you some insight into the impact of presentations on how participants engage with each other around some discussion topic. While we often need presentations to provide some information, we can be blind to their impact on the structure of the meeting and how this affects participation. I'm not talking here about the design of any PowerPoints and so on, but rather the place and use of presentations in your meetings. Here's what I mean. I was recently helping a leader plan a meeting where she wanted to gather good feedback on some ideas for the year ahead, but felt she needed first to provide some context for the discussion. She planned to devote the first 2 hours to a series of 6 presentations. There'd be 25 participants, not counting presenters. Fortunately, she said, this was a 4-hour meeting, so there'd be plenty of time for discussion. I knew, however, that she was unlikely to get the kind of discussion she said she wanted if she began this way. Here's why, and some guidelines for your use of presentations and meetings. When someone chooses to begin a discussion with a lengthy presentation, they've created a structure that implies several things to participants. Specifically, someone is in charge here who knows more or thinks she does about the topic than I do. My role is to listen and learn key points. Maybe there's an orthodox view and I'd be taking a risk if I said something contrary. Or maybe this meeting is less a discussion than an attempt to get my buy-in. While these or similar reactions may not be in the forefront of anyone's mind, they have a subtle but significant impact on participation. None of these reactions may be intended, but they can lead participants to take a more passive role in the meeting. I know I've been in meetings where the real discussion happens in the hallway or over coffee or drinks and not in the meeting room. And this situation was largely created by the unrecognized impact of all the presentations. I know some leaders who even ban presentations from meetings. But you don't have to go that far if you make a few changes in how you structure the place of your presentations. Here are 5 guidelines and a tool for making sure that any presentation serves the work of your meeting. First, keep presentations short. They should be no more than 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, attention is likely to go down and participants become used to taking a passive role. If the presentation needs to be longer, break it up into separate sections with opportunities for group reflection and interaction in between. 2, use presentations only to provide the overall framework. Provide handouts or exhibits with additional detail for participants to review on their own. This makes it less likely that presentations will cover too much content and respects participants' ability to review the materials on their own. 3, try not to begin the meeting with a presentation. Engage participants first. People are more likely to contribute after a presentation if they've already had a chance to get their voices into the room. 4, set specific expectations for participants. Set clear expectations for the presentation's purpose by telling participants what they should listen for and be prepared to discuss afterwards. 5, avoid going directly to questions after the presentation. Instead, give everyone a few minutes to reflect on what they've heard and compare reactions with another participant around the room, around the table. Then open up the session for questions and discussion. To engage participants in a constructive exchange in response to some presentation, I like to use a set of questions to frame the discussion that I call the 3 reaction questions. These questions support balanced feedback on a proposal, idea, or decision. Immediately after you present some proposal, ask participants to reflect on their own, or even better, to talk in small groups to answer the questions below. Try not to take any questions from the group right away. Just ask them to consider these 3. 1, what do you like about the proposal? 2, where do you need further information? 3, where do you have concerns? After a few minutes, take the feedback, 1 question at a time, beginning with the first. Make sure you get all replies to the first question, likes, before proceeding to the second. And that way, everyone hears the likes, which otherwise might be overlooked as the group's attention switches to questions and concerns. I use these ideas to help the leader with a meeting that began with 2 hours of presentations. I first had her divide the presentations up into 3 sets of 2 presentations each on similar themes and allocate 25 minutes to the 2 presenters for that set. After each pair of presentations, participants were to talk together in small groups and develop their replies to the 3 reaction questions. After 15 minutes, she reconvened the whole group and took their responses to question 1 and then to questions 2 and 3. The feedback was recorded and notes made about next steps. This process was repeated 2 more times. Everyone stayed fully engaged throughout the 4 hours. The energy and participation was very high. They knew their comments were heard and appreciated, and the leader got the feedback she wanted on the plans for the year ahead. There are many more ways you can use structure to create much more effective meetings. For more ideas and suggestions, you can see my blog posts at Meeting for Results or my book, Leading Great Meetings, How to Structure Yours for Success. Thanks. Good luck.